Across North Africa stretches an ocean without water, the Sahara Desert. It is a world of silence and wind, a continent within a continent, larger than the United States, spanning from the Atlantic to the Red Sea. Today, it is a place of sand, heat, and emptiness. Yet long before the dunes rolled across its surface, the Sahara was a living world of rivers, grasslands, and animals now long vanished. Welcome to History Unpacked. If you enjoy the content, consider subscribing. We post every week and we welcome any feedback. We hope you enjoy today's episode. The tale of the Sahara begins deep in prehistory, around 7 million years ago. The African continent was already home to great shifting landscapes, forests in the south, grasslands in the east, and an ancient sea in the north that had long since receded. The Sahara's transformation into desert was neither sudden nor final. Geological records reveal that, for much of Earth's history, the region alternated between lush savanna and arid waste. These fluctuations were driven by the slow tilting of the Earth's axis, a rhythm known as the Milankovitch cycles, which altered monsoon patterns across the continent. When the planet's orbit shifted, rains came northward and the Sahara bloomed. When the orbit changed again, the rains retreated and the sands reclaimed the land. The last great green Sahara existed between 11,000 and 5,000 BCE, a period sometimes called the African Humid Era. Lakes as vast as seas covered the interior. Lake Megachad alone was larger than modern Germany. Hippopotamuses and crocodiles swam where today only sand lies. Early humans also roamed this green paradise. Rock art found in modern Algeria shows cattle herders, dancers, and hunters surrounded by trees and rivers. The Sahara was not yet a barrier, it was a bridge, connecting peoples from the Nile to the Atlantic. But then, slowly, the monsoon failed. The grass died, the dust came, and over a few thousand years the desert consumed the green world, leaving behind the greatest wilderness on Earth. Even as the Sahara dried, people remained. They adapted as they always do. The descendants of those early herders moved towards the Nile Valley and the Sahel, carrying with them stories of lost pastures and remembered rains. Among the earliest identifiable cultures were the Tenerians, who lived around 5,000 years ago in what is now Niger. Archaeological remains show them as skilled hunters and fishermen living by the edge of vanishing lakes. Graves reveal careful burials adorned with jewelry, evidence of ritual, perhaps even belief in an afterlife. Farther north, the Garamants built an oasis kingdom in the heart of the desert, in what is now southern Libya. From about 500 BCE to 500 CE, they carved out a civilization sustained by an indigenous network of underground tunnels called fogaras, which brought groundwater to their fields. Their capital, Garama, was a city of mud brick and trade connected by caravan routes to the Mediterranean and to sub-Saharan Africa. These early Saharan peoples were not isolated. They were the invisible arteries of an ancient world economy. Salt, gold, slaves, and ivory passed through their hands long before the rise of the great Trans-Saharan caravans. When the Roman Empire expanded into North Africa, the Sahara formed both a frontier and a passageway. Rome's southern province brushed against its edge. Soldiers built fortresses across the desert's rim, trading with the nomadic tribes beyond. Roman merchants coveted the products that came from the south, gold from West Africa, exotic animals for the amphitheatres, and slaves for the empire's endless appetites. To obtain them, they relied on the Garamantes and other desert intermediaries. But the Sahara was a treacherous partner. The same winds that buried the past could swallow entire caravans. For the Romans, it remained a realm of mystery, inhabited, according to their maps, by Ethiops, by strange creatures, and by the limits of the known world. Centuries later, when Rome fell and Islam rose, the desert was reborn as a highway of faith and commerce. By the 7th century CE, Arab traders and Berber converts had begun to cross it with camels, animals uniquely suited to its extremes. The camel, often called the ship of the desert, transformed the Sahara forever. Through the vast emptiness, caravans carried Islam, Arabic script, and trade goods across thousands of miles. Gold flowed north from the Niger Basin to the cities of the Maghreb, and from there to Europe and the Middle East. In return came salt, textiles, and knowledge. The medieval empires of Ghana, Mali, and Songhai owed much of their power to these Saharan routes. Timbuktu, sitting near the desert's southern edge, became a beacon of learning, its libraries filled with manuscripts carried on the backs of camels. To the north, Berber dynasties built empires that stretched across the Maghreb and into Spain, all nourished by the wealth that flowed through the Sahara's veins. The desert, once a wilderness, has become the connective tissue of a globalized medieval world. By the early modern era, European explorers looked upon the Sahara with the same awe once reserved for oceans. It was the blank space on their maps. In the 19th century, driven by curiosity and empire, men set out to cross it. Among them was the Scottish explorer Mungo Park, who traced the Niger River but perished in its currents. Later came Heinrich Barth, a German scholar who survived 5 years in the desert, recording its languages and customs. They found a land both deadly and alive. Tuareg nomads guided, and sometimes robbed, them. Sandstorms erased the horizon. The heat could strip a man of sanity. Yet in their journals, these explorers described not a void, but a living world. Caravan routes, oasis towns, and kingdoms thriving despite the odds. By the late 19th century, the European powers, France above all, moved to claim the Sahara as part of their colonial empire. They found little to conquer and less to profit from, yet they drew their borders through the sand all the same. French soldiers marched across Algeria, Mali, and Niger, subduing the Tuareg and the other tribes who had long since mastered the desert's ways. The Tuareg rebellions in the early 20th century became legends of resistance, as blue-veiled warriors fought the armies of Europe amid dunes and mirages. Even the world wars did not entirely spare the Sahara. During World War II, it became a theatre of conflict between the Axis and Allied powers. The North African campaign, stretching from Morocco to Egypt, saw battles fought on the desert's edge, El Alamein, Tobruk, and others now etched into military history. In the interior, the Long-Range Desert Group and the Free French Forces operated behind enemy lines, using the vastness of the Sahara as both shield and weapon. To fight a war in the desert required ingenuity. Vehicles had to be adapted for sand, and survival depended on knowing where water could be found. The men who served there spoke of mirages, desolation, of endless horizons, and the humbling vastness of the earth. After the war, the Sahara became a proving ground for a new form of power. In 1960, the French conducted their first nuclear test at Regain in the Algerian Sahara. The blast lit up the dunes with a terrible light, a symbol of both scientific mastery and colonial arrogance. That same decade, Algeria fought its brutal war of independence, and again the desert played its part, harboring guerrillas and concealing atrocities. To the casual eye, the Sahara seemed lifeless, yet beneath the surface it teems with adaptation. Its creatures, fennec foxes, addax antelopes, desert vipers, are specialists in survival. Oases like the Siwa in Egypt or the Ghadames in Libya sustain human life much as they did in antiquity. The people of the Sahara, the Tuareg, the Bedouin, the Taubau, and others continue to live according to ancient rhythms. Their culture, rich in poetry and oral tradition, has been shaped by hardship and also by freedom. The desert to them is not emptiness but home. In modern times, the Sahara has become a stage for new dramas. Nomads displaced by drought migrate to the cities. Smugglers and traffickers raise the old caravan routes with darker purposes. Meanwhile, archaeologists uncover the remains of the Green Sahara, petrified forests, fossilized crocodiles, and ancient rock art that reawakens a lost world. Satellite imagery has revealed riverbeds hidden beneath the sands, the ghostly outlines of lakes and deltas that speak of the Sahara's living past. The Sahara's recorded history is not only that of nations, but of singular events, moments where human ambition met the immensity of nature. Around 525 BCE, the Persian king Cambyses II reportedly sent 50,000 men to conquer the Siwa oasis. None returned. According to legend, they were swallowed by a sandstorm, an entire army erased without a trace. Though historians debate the tale, expeditions continue to search for evidence buried beneath the dunes. For centuries in northern Mali, men have mined salt by hand, cutting slabs beneath the merciless sun. The salt caravans, often hundreds of camels long, embody one of the last surviving echoes of the medieval Trans-Saharan trade. In 1933, the British airship R101 passed over the Sahara on its doomed voyage to India, a fleeting symbol of human technology defying the elements. In the late 20th century, the Sahara became the backdrop for adventure once more as drivers raced from Europe to Senegal across its deadly expanse. The rally's glamour often masked its dangers. Many lives were lost to heat, mechanical failure, or sheer isolation. Each of these moments, ancient, colonial, or modern, illustrates the truth. The Sahara humbles all who enter it. Today, scientists watch the Sahara not as a mystery, but as a warning. Satellite data show that its boundaries are still shifting, expanding southward in some areas due to desertification and human misuse of land. The cycle that once took thousands of years to now unfolds in decades. Yet, paradoxically, parts of the desert also see hints of revival. Climate models suggest that under certain orbital conditions, the Sahara may yet one day bloom again, perhaps tens of thousands of years from now when the monsoon returns. In the meantime, initiatives such as the Great Green Wall, a vast belt of vegetation stretching across the Africa's Sahel, aim to hold back the sands and restore the soil. It's a modern echo of ancient struggles, a testament that humanity still wrestles with the same forces that shaped its earliest ancestors. The Sahara occupies a peculiar place in the human imagination. To ancient Egyptians, it was a realm of the dead, a place beyond the western hills where the sun sets and souls journeyed. To Islamic poets, it was the abode of the jinn and mystery. To Europeans, it became the archetype of the exotic and the sublime. Writers and filmmakers have long used it as a canvas for longing and loss, the English Patient, Lawrence of Arabia, each capturing something of the desert's vast loneliness. But beyond myth, the Sahara endures as a mirror of human endurance, folly, and wonder.